time there's something that somebody does that's real, that hits us, whether it's like hip hop and there's somebody saying, rapping or singing lyrics, like the shit that really sounds good and that hits us is when they're really putting their whole feeling and thought behind it, whether it's hip hop or jazz or theater or whatever it is, as opposed to like kind of putting your feeling into it, doing like the right motions, like playing the right notes, going to the right spot on stage, saying the right words, etc. And that's where, at the meeting with Robert, he talked about the point of the exercise is to break us down, basically, like push us to exhaustion so that all those inhibitions and rules fall away, and then we become, almost animalistic, but we become more real, and then we're really have that real intention and desire.
I want this, I want this, I want this, kept saying it over and over and over. Or other goals that I have. Make it, and they talk about this in all these books that we love, that we mutually love. It's like they talk about this, you've got to create this desire, and it sounds very intellectual when you're reading, you're like, yeah, but what does that mean in creating anything?
Or back to your sports analogy, really wanting it with your whole body to get the ball to the end zone or whatever, that kind of thing. It's even...
it's the core.
Yeah. It's even like if you're playing music and you're playing a melody or a phrase, it's the difference between playing the right notes and playing the...
Women are obsessed with being in love. All of them. We're obsessed with being in love. Except not really. It's like, I watch my roommates.
Men are not at all.
Yeah. We're totally about sex.
Especially men.
What is that word, anyway?
But,
I don't know that word.
but, like, a friend of mine wanted advice, and she was going in circles about this girl that she loves. And I'm not love. She didn't even use that word, not even close to that word. But it was like, on and on. That, like, could have gone on for an hour about this. And I'm like, do you love her? Do you want to be in love? Is that what you want? If it is, say it. Like, what are you afraid of?
Right.
What is this really about? That's how I want to live my life.
Risk, essentially, that it doesn't work. You have to risk that you are rejected. You have to risk that that person rejects your connection. You have to risk that when you play that shit on the drums and you're trying to put your real thing out there into the music, you risk that it's not gonna, that they're not gonna care. You risk that somebody's gonna hate it. You risk that somebody's gonna see your real thing and not like it. So, but that's important. You have to face that fear.
It's a very great point. I just realized it right now. I've never thought about it, but from my experience of directing, work with other directors, I've always seen the director want to make everything happen on the stage and make it perfect before they go to the show during the rehearsal. I never had that
what is happening.
Right.
I had a class once and I had to do a Shakespeare monologue and it just wasn't happening. I was somewhere else. And my teacher said, "What is going on with you?" And I said, "I don't know." I kept saying, "I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I can't say it, I don't know." And he said, "Can you put anything on it? Can you describe it?" I was like, "It's like a flat gray." And he was like, "All right, can you go from there? Can you speak from there?" And it was like, poof, it just came out. Because that's what I was feeling. I was feeling flat gray, but I thought flat gray wasn't
anything we had was through our body, and we save it there. Now we're just gonna grab it, and that is interesting by itself, just being honest, because that's the whole point of, that's the biggest philosophy of Crying Deer production. We're working on the subject of love, but we're not just going to talk philosophy about love. As a matter of fact, we're not talking about love at all. We're gonna leave it for the audience to make words for it. We're just gonna be there and use our body and say, I have a desire of love to get, and I have love to want to give you. And do that, but doing it honestly. We're not trying to shock the audience. We're not trying to make things interesting. We're not trying to make a huge philosophical production based on
So
love.
we're not trying to make them think a certain way about love.
Exactly.
I have to go from there and then find it. That's the point.
Exactly. You got the answer, right?
And that's the conflict. You don't have to make conflict. Conflict is there.
Yeah.
It's amazing because me and Maz are so different.
Right.
And he feels love so different. And it's been so amazing to try to be patient
Right.
and to say, whatever's going on is going on. Let it be. Don't try to make it something. You know what I mean?